Bladesmiths, welcome to the Forge. So let's cut to the chase. In this competition, we want you guys to put together a signature chopper. But when you're building your choppers, we want them to fall within the following parameters. Your blades need to measure between 13 and 15 inches. But we got a bit of a problem. You see, the only high carbon steel we have available is this. Just a sliver of 1095. But we totally understand it is impossible for you to put together a chopper of the dimensions we're asking for using only this high carbon. We want you guys to source the rest of your materials from this. Bladesmiths, what we have here is a pile of scrap steel. Some of it's usable mild and some of it is unusable cast iron. What we want you to do is source the bulk of your materials from this pile here, turn it into a billet, forge weld your high carbon on there as an edge, and turn it into a blade. We've got 3 hours on the clock for this first round of competition, so good luck, work hard. Your time starts now.
First thing comes to my head is find the biggest piece of mild steel laying on that table. I'm looking for something that's going to be flat and thick enough that I could insert a bit of the high carbon steel into.
Find a basic round stock that I knew it was mild steel as soon as I looked at it.
Nathan just cut his high carbon sliver in half. Still silly, why would he do that? Yeah.
He's probably looking at it as too long a weld. The length of the weld is what's making him nervous, I would assume.
I've got my 3 pieces all tack welded together. Now I'm gonna put it in the forge and set my forge welds.
I see this square tube. If I can use an angle grinder and cut off one section, that'll be enough that I can draw out a blade to parameters.
My biggest concern is not getting the forge weld all the way down the high carbon bit. A lot could go wrong with splitting apart.
That's a nice forge weld temperature. That's looking good.
I'm trying to tap it in as gently as I can. I see it is just shearing off to the sides.
I've got my weld set, so I'm gonna basically draw it out into a bar until I'm ready to forge the point. It's gonna be heavy, so I'm gonna forge it heavy because it's easier to remove the material than it is to put it back.
I'm not real happy with the shape of my blade, but if I can get this thing quenched and hardened, I can work on the shape.
Adam just quenched.
Come straight out of the oil, and I head straight to the grinder because I wanted to see how much high carbon steel I had down toward the edge.
I got my wet. The forge welds look nice. I'm getting ready to quench.
All right, Jason quenched.
As soon as I pull it out, I see it's already starting to warp.
I'm having a bit of trouble getting this forge weld to set.
She looks like she's getting pretty frustrated.
So I'm going to have to beat it into submission until I've mushed those 2 pieces together. The heart of this blade is 1 piece. I'm feeling good right now.
All right, Bladesmiths, coming down to the wire. You have 30 minutes left. 3-0.
It's time to get ready to quench. I don't know what the stresses will do with the 2 different kinds of metal. It could pop my edge right off.
There we go. All right, Nathan quenched.
Take it out. Once I get through the smoke, it looks pretty straight. With the time I have, I'm gonna grind on my blade. It's heavy. It needs to be lightened a lot.
I'm not real super happy about the shape. I wish I had a little bit more time to make it prettier, but it's time to acid etch. I'm wanting to look for the little brown circles. That definitely indicates that you've had a failed forge weld. I'm not seeing any rust spots coming out from the forge weld, so I'm really happy at this time.
Now we have a knife. It weighs a ton because I haven't removed enough material, but the knife looks right now.
Stephanie just quenched.
It's mostly straight, but I'm just gonna bring it straight to the grinder and profile my blade. There's not a whole lot of time left on the clock, but I'm hopeful and I'm happy.
As I'm working on the grinder, I've seen the seam where the mild steel was pulled back a little bit from the high carbon. See the high carbon? I'm thinking I should go over there and MIG weld it to make sure there's no D-lanes. I look up at the clock. I don't have enough time to address it, but that could cost me.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bladesmiths, turn off your tools, put down your blade. This round is over. All right, Bladesmiths, in the first 3 hours of this competition, all 4 of you were successfully able to take that high carbon steel and forge weld it onto your mild steel blades. You all have blades that meet our parameters, but the time has come for the judges to decide which 3 of you are going to be joining us in the second round of this competition. Stephanie, you're up first. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Please present your work.
Right, Stephanie, you had a problem trying to put your hardenable steel on the edge, but you found a solution. Good on you. But you still have a delamination. If you move forward, you should address that so that in our test it doesn't open up anymore. Good job.
All right, Nathan, you're up next. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Please present your work.
All right, Nathan, the shape of your blade is really good, just a very classic chopping camp knife. The big issue I have with this knife is the weight. This is a very heavy blade still. A lot of this weight needs to come off of here. And combined with a big, heavy knife like this handle is on the smaller side. In general, it's a good-looking piece of steel. The welds are solid. Nice job.
Thank you.
All right, Jason, you're up next. Please present your work.
Right off the bat, great shape, like, big hog splitter knife. The biggest thing I take issue with is there are a couple places where you've got sort of that deer lamb ridge line. I mean, down here I can get a fingernail in there. But as a chopper, it's a great shape. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, Adam, you're up next. Please present your work.
All right, Adam, you've got an interesting shape going on here. This is another blade where the steel was welded directly down onto the mild steel. So you really can't do all that much profiling with this edge without, kind of grinding into the mild. But in general, I think you're set up for an interesting looking chopper. Nice job.
Well, Bladesmiths, first off, I want to say you guys all have a lot to be proud of. We gave you a very difficult and unique challenge, asking you to take a tiny bit of high carbon steel and somehow turning it into a functional chopper. But in this competition, only 3 of you can join us in the next round. The bladesmith who's going to be leaving the forge is Jason. Unfortunately, your blade didn't make the cut today, and Doug's going to tell you why.
Jason, first up, I want to thank you for battling through and turning in. Pretty good design for a competition chopper. But your blade has the most visible delaminations along the weld line, and for that reason, we're sending you home.
Totally agree. Thank you.
Well, Jason, you had the process all down, but unfortunately, man, you're not going to be joining us in the next round of this competition. I'm going to have to ask you to please surrender your work and step off the forge floor.
I practiced for weeks doing all my canister, regular Damascus, sand my, and then they threw a curveball of putting a small piece of high carbon down a full-length blade into mild steel. But I have no regrets. I had a blast, and I'll keep on bladesmithing.